want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order, plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right, so now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right, so that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack. But then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And, dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you're going between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally. Because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. Let me get my monitor turned a little bit. I'm your host, Anton Daniels, and it is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024, year of our Lord, and we rocking, man. We rocking. Another opportunity. Oh, I just kicked my Yeezy slide off. Another opportunity to do great things. What's going on, friends? What's going on, family? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? DJ Ace Productions, K Cooper, KB. Molly was on the show last night cooking. Somebody said the volume seemed low. Well, then that means you got to turn up the volume on your end. It ain't the volume on my end. I'm looking at my audio levels. Hey, somebody tell me, do my volume seem low or are we all good? Y'all let me know in the chat, is the volume low or are we cooking with fish grease early in the morning? I feel good. I'm excited. It was a great show last night. It was an awesome, awesome show last night. I seen Molly asking a lot of questions, became inquisitive. Q, what? Wait a minute, what was going on with Quentin? I got to check in with Quentin. We got after hours tonight, so we gonna rock out on that type of front, and we just gonna play it by ear. So lots to cover, lots to go over. I got a full show. We might go 2.5 hours, maybe even 3, depending on what it is that's rocking. So y'all saying that my audio was good? Okay, so then that's just him. As usual, as usual. It's not always me. Sometimes it's y'all. All right, what up, friends? Let me say this before we get started. To smoke cigarettes, you truly have to be committed to dying. Yeah. I was anytime before I start the show, I go into the restroom, use the bathroom, wash my hands, come back out. That way I'm fully committed to having a conversation with y'all and I have zero distractions. I lock the door, we kick it, we run it up, and we take care of business. And when I'm in there, urinal on that side. This ain't the one with the ladies. I got the urinals for the ladies. We talked about that last night. But I'm in there and I hear a guy. He's at the urinal and he's taking a piss, but he's grunting. And first of all, my ears perk up because I'm like, why? I've never understood why guys grunt when they're taking a piss. Something hurting? Something wrong? It's supposed to be a relief. It's not supposed to be. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So he got on blue jeans, a flannel, a beanie. It's going to be 80 degrees today. And he grunting at the urinal. And then we both come out. So, as usual, when you got somebody else in the restroom with you, most of the time, yeah, for real. Most of the time, when somebody is in the restroom with you, they also choose to wash their hands. So if they coming out by themselves, usually if I'm coming in when they coming out, I can tell whether or not they wash their hands. You know what I'm saying? It's some context clues of whether or not they wash their hands. But if you in there with them, they don't want to give you the wrong impression, so they'll wash their hands along with you. So I go over, wash my hands. He come over, wash his hands. It is 9 a.m. in the morning on the East Coast or in the Midwest, Eastern Standard Time. And I just smell the reek of cigarettes, cigarette reek. So either he was smoking last night or he's a regular smoker and it's just in his clothes and he hasn't washed his clothes in a long time and it's just coming out of his skin, or he was having cigarettes early in the morning. Now, all of his flannels look very similar, so I can't tell whether or not he washed or not. That's irrelevant. But, I was thinking about it, and I don't know what way my mind works. I start hearkening back to all of the different times and all of the different jobs. And here in Michigan, for the most part, you can't smoke inside of buildings. Like, it's not really a thing. You have to go outside in office buildings and be able to smoke. And all of the jobs that I've experienced in my lifetime, even in the wintertime, cigarette smokers, they huddle up. They're really committed to the habit. And I don't know what they put inside of those cigarettes. And so I personally never, ever tried cigarettes before because I realized it seemed more addictive than crack and heroin. But cigarette smokers, they are committed to the habit. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it do for you. It seemed like we got other vices that you can use in order to solve for that problem in 2024. It just stinks. When I see a woman that walks around with a cigarette, I'm like, she one of the dustiest of the dusty, huh? So if you're a cigarette smoker, just let me know ahead of time so I can know not to get in your car. So I don't be coming out smelling like a POS when I get out of it. Because again, if you have a nasty habit of smoking cigarettes, I don't even know how people get into that in the first place. That's not even something that you would want to try. Like, if you're a rock star or something, or you went to a party and it was like, hey man, let's do some coke. It's going to get you to the moon. I wouldn't suggest you do that either, but I can understand. Oh man, you got peer pressure. Like, how do you get into smoking cigarettes? It's a crazy thing, man. Like, even if you go to other countries, like if you go to Mexico and stuff like that, I think even Canada, like they have to put on the pack like somebody that was in a hospital that face just fell off because they was smoking and they had cancer or something like that. Like in other countries and certain places, they got to put pictures of people that were in the hospital or cancer survivors where like their face is just completely stupid. Who is calling me early in the morning? Let's find out. Hello? 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 Anyways, let's continue to rock out. I got to read some of the super chats, and then I'm definitely going to read some of the cash apps, and then we going to get it popping. So let me go ahead and read some of those because I got to acknowledge the people that support the platform. We got a show for y'all today. First and foremost, I want to make sure that I acknowledge my dog. Rand Wilson says, man, Diddy is done by the feds in NYC. Hello? I'm sorry? Okay. Anyways, shout out to Rand Wilson. I appreciate you for the cash app. Thank you, my friend. Aaron Floyd says, keep speaking facts. I appreciate you. Mike, that dude is in the building. And then ESDC is popping off. Shout out to ESDC. On top of that, I want to make sure I acknowledge Enforcer 2K9. My first super chatter today says, Melanie did a reaction video to a police body cam of a woman in Ohio eating a cat. Trump was right again. Shout out to Melanie. I just talked to her yesterday. Me and Mel, that's my homegirl. Shout out to Melanie King. I was having a conversation with her. We had a long conversation. We talked for almost like an hour yesterday. Shout out to Mel. I love my girl Mel, one of my favorite content creators, and my dog. Always been one of my people, one of my close people. C. Will says, thanks for adding value to all of our lives. One of my rich friends. C. Will is one of my rich friends, y'all. Met you at a meetup in Houston, and let me tell you guys, he's authentic in person as he is online. Extremely inspiring. I'm trying to get fit as a walk while I'm on break, while I listen to the best morning show on earth. Shout out to C. Will. On that note, let me make sure that I say that y'all need to make sure y'all get that Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. And then also on top of that, if you're looking to kick it with me in person, because I travel from state to state, city to city, kicking it with the people, and I will tell you that I am more of this in person than I am online. Some people, it's a lot of people, they're different in person than they are online. I'm more of what I am online than I am in person. And I told y'all, I want to see my snow bunnies in person. Snow hares and snow bunnies. Don't be afraid. Come and kick it with Time Dog. Make sure y'all join the Bag Chasers. Link is in the description. As well as, it's not even pinned to the top of the chat. I'll take care of that pinned to the top of the chat thing shortly. And yeah, man, I would invite y'all to join the Bag Chasers. Come and kick it with your boy. And we definitely going to be having a good old time in 2024, going into 2025, and it's going to be popping. Anybody that has ever met me in person, you cannot say that you should hate me. If you come out and meet me in person, I guarantee you're going to love me. All right? So shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody that hold me down. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. I will be pinning it to the top of the chat shortly. And then Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Y'all ready to get started with the show? All right, buckle up. I'm going to keep y'all entertained throughout your morning and get you through your work day. Shout out to all of my truck drivers, my people that work from home, my nurses, everybody, my housewives, all of y'all. I love you. I appreciate y'all. Y'all ready to get started with the show? Let's rock. Quick Hits. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we like to. Yes, I will come to St. Louis, Fly Girl Candy, if you want me to. What up, Mika? We don't want to make sure that we definitely want to make sure we keep y'all in the loop of what's going on throughout the United States of America. Thank you, Jackie Sterling. I will be reading that super chat shortly. First things first, 3 dead, 6 injured in a Houston block party. Check it out. It's unfortunate.
6 other people were also hurt when shots were fired at the intersection of Laura Copy and Lockwood around 2 in the morning. ABC 13's Liliana Pearson spoke to family, witnesses, and victims, all in disbelief over the violence.
Crossing 2 lanes of traffic and stretching a block. The sheer size of the scene gives you an idea of the widespread violence.
Today, I don't know what happened. It was just crazy. It was like a scene out of a movie.
A food truck driver who wishes to stay anonymous says he parks here regularly and was helping a line of customers when the crowd began to yell, scatter, and fall to the ground.
It was literally so close. Like, I literally watched the bullet hit the ground and then hit a dude in the hand, and then hit the ground and then hit a dude in the leg, and they just fell right there in front of my truck.
Police say a white truck drove westbound on Lower Copy, opening fire on the crowd. This cell phone video showing 3 people who were shot lying on the ground but alive.
And just waited for them to stop for a second, and when I got down and got to the back with my wife, they started again. More shots, more. It's just blood everywhere.
He had a stressful night, so we're gonna let him get a pass on a cigarette. He had a very stressful night last night.
All in front of my truck.
John Taylor says that he was at that block party, not realizing he was shot in the foot until after he got away.
Too many people got hurt tonight, so I can't just speak for one person. I can't even speak for myself.
The mother of 24-year-old Jarvis Fultry says her son died at the scene. The friend of a second unnamed victim coming to leave a memorial for her loved one. Neighbors telling us the violence is terrible, but not a surprise.
It shouldn't have ever happened. You know, it just, people lost their lives for no reason.
Everyone calling for the suspect to turn themselves in and give answers as to why they did this.
Just stop doing it. Stop the violence.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure he's just going to pull right on up to the police department and say, you know what? I want to give y'all an explanation why I shot up the party. But you don't got to worry about that with Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I told y'all that I'm Ruben Pfeffer. I was telling Mika this. Mika, I told you. I don't know if y'all ever watched Along Came Polly, but as I get older, I become more risk averse. Now, I'll do risky things like adventurous, jumping out of a plane, go parachuting, you know what I'm saying? Go swimming somewhere in some exotic location. I'll do those type of things. I feel more safe in an ocean where we haven't even discovered or explored like 63% of it, and we don't even know what monsters is down there, than I am at a block party going out there with people that look like me, because it's a higher chance and a higher probability that I won't come home. So block parties is out. No more block parties. I'm not interested. Don't invite me to your barbecue. I'm not pulling up. Them days is over. Told y'all. Anyways, outside of that, here in Detroit, this past Sunday, I wanted to wait and get all of the details, but a second shooting victim dies after a tailgate party prior to the Detroit Lions playing on Sunday. Check it out.
We begin tonight with a tragedy compounded. Detroit police confirm a second person has died from the shooting at Eastern Market just after the Lions game. A candlelight vigil is set to start at 7 tonight to honor those 2 victims. Shooting police chief James White calls ridiculous.
Yeah. Meantime, officials at Eastern Market say they plan to beef up security for the next Lions home game. Let's get to Shante Passmore live for us there tonight. Shante, bring us up to speed on where the investigation stands on this shooting.
Devin and Kimberly, more than 24 hours after that deadly shooting, you can still see what's left over of this crime scene, including this police tape. And for Rayshawn Bryant, like so many people yesterday, this was supposed to be just another tailgate. Now families and friends are saying this all started over a parking spot.
Rayshawn Bryant, known for being the life of the party, loved being a family man.
That man was everything to me.
Kanisha Harper shared a daughter with Bryant. The mother walked us through what led to the deadly shooting at Eastern Market during a Lions tailgate.
From my understanding of what happened yesterday, some guys was fighting over a parking spot, led to gun violence.
Detroit police.
Let me say this, bro. I don't know what kind of ego y'all got an ego demon. It's an ego demon out here. Even online, where I'll be like, oh yeah, I walked away. It wasn't worth the confrontation. I didn't want to lose my freedom. I didn't want to catch no charges. So what? Somebody called me out of my name. Somebody said something negative to me. When my my CPL training class, they said, always walk away, run if you have to, especially if you're a CPL holder, because the last line of defense is that you want to have to be able to pull out your pistol. And so the goal is to get home. The goal is to save lives. The goal is to be able to get back to your daughters and your wives and your side chicks or whatever it is that you got going on in your life, to make sure that you make it home at night. Y'all arguing over a parking spot? It was warm. It was nice. The music was playing. Everything has been going well. And y'all at a tailgate party arguing over a parking spot?
Say a heated argument led to the shooting in Shed 6. Harper claims the dispute settled until the alleged shooter returned with a gun. Bryant's daughter just yards away in Shed 5. Police report the second victim also died. The identity still hasn't been released yet. Investigators say the alleged shooter is a CPL holder in his 30s. As for security, a spokesperson for Eastern Market told me it's working with area law enforcement and city officials to enhance public safety measures, including increasing foot patrols in the area. The rep says it's looking at its options, including the future of tailgating at Eastern Market.
And Eastern Market is a phenomenal space. It's so beautiful. They have it's one of those markets where, they have music playing. They got restaurants over there. They usually have vendors as far as fruit vendors and it's one of those places where you go in the morning in order to get your flowers. And they also have a whole bunch of distributors over there, right? So they have meat markets and stuff like that. And so for a lot of the restaurants that I've been involved in, we've always had vendors and distributors straight from Eastern Market. And so it's a really, really great place for families and people to go and stuff like that. Y'all get into an argument over a stupid parking space, and then dude leave and come back to go and kill the dudes that he got into an argument with. Stupid, man. Just so ignorant. The dumbest thing that I done heard in a long time. Let's go to something a little more lighthearted. An 8-year-old decided to drive herself to Target with $400 in her pocket and went shopping.
An 8-year-old girl had places to be, and she took it upon herself to get there. This morning, she drove herself to Target. According to police, the girl lives in Bedford and drove to a Target in Bainbridge Township. News 5's Maya Lockett has more on what happened.
What started off as a missing child report soon turned into a busy day for an 8-year-old at this Target in Aurora.
He did advise the driver appeared to be small in stature, and she should be in that vehicle driving.
The driver was an 8-year-old girl who was originally reported missing along with the family's vehicle, a 2020 Nissan Rogue. In a press release from Bedford Police, family last saw the child around 7 a.m. A next-door neighbor provided the family and officers with Ring camera footage that showed the child got into the SUV and drove off around 7 a.m.
She a future no bumper having Altima owner. She was in a Nissan Rogue. 8-year-old is going to grow up to be having that Altima no bumper.
Alone.
Bainbridge located the vehicle so far, but not the child.
Officers learned through dispatch that Bainbridge PD had located the vehicle in the Target parking lot in their city.
Bainbridge does have the female juvenile.
Moments later, officers were able to locate the 8-year-old inside of the Target. On a Facebook post from Bedford Police, they said they did let her finish her Frappuccino. The girl admitted during her drive she struck a mailbox. Target employees told News 5 the child walked in with more than $400 and proceeded to walk around the store shopping for items and checking out. Now, police did make Target employees give the money that was spent inside the Target by the 8-year-old back to the family, and I did attempt to speak with the family today. However, they did not want to go on camera and they did not want to provide a comment. Reporting in Aurora, Maya Lockett, News 5.
Is that Aurora in Colorado? Is that what that is? An 8-year-old? Where did she get $400 from? So many different questions. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right, let me read a couple of these super chats and then we just went shopping, huh? For something tells me this is not our first time doing it. I remember I used to know where the keys was to a spare car. We never, ever. We would get in there and play the music and take the keys and put it back. These 8-year-olds got balls now. Anyway, shout out to my dog, Jackie Sterling in the building. Shout out to Jack. Jack says, good morning, 80 and the Chasers. I'm 28 years old, currently finishing undergrad to become a physician. But I have been thinking about switching to cybersecurity and wanted to get your thoughts. I think you should just go. Why? Okay, so the question then becomes, why are you switching? Like, what's the goal? What's the intention? I don't think anything is wrong with either or, but I just think that in the scenario where you have two great options, go with the thing that you really want to do. Don't be so focused on how long it takes or anything like that. If you want to be a physician, go and be a physician. If you want to go into cybersecurity, go into cybersecurity. The thing about it is that you got to think about what your lifestyle is going to be long term. So one thing that I was very cognizant of and really focused on is how I wanted to be able to move depending on what my career was once I decided to go back to school. So I knew I wanted to be mobile. So one of the reasons I decided to go into software engineering was because, and it's funny because I'm about to go back to school too. That's interesting. I got to go back to school. Well, I don't have to, but it's just something else that I just feel like doing. I don't know why. I don't have the capacity, but I'm probably going to do it. Give me 1 second. But I wanted to be mindful of what I wanted my life to be. And so I wanted to be able to move and go back and forth and travel, you know what I'm saying? And if I wanted to work mobily, then I wanted to do that. The one thing about being a physician is that you can make a lot of money, but you have to be stationary and you kind of committed to being in there, but still it's based off of whatever your passion is. So just take those couple things into consideration. I think that they both fine. I don't see anything wrong with cybersecurity, but I mean, if you want to be a physician, I think that that's awesome also. Let me get a round of applause for my dog, Jack Sterling. Shout out to you. Cartier 82 says, I just increased the credit limit for a metal stamper who will be creating the EVs for the post office. The company who landed the contract is a Cali startup called Canoe. I know what Canoe is. Canoe, they be having those vehicles and it's kind of really sloped, look like an egg a little bit. This might be a good place. Shout out to you, Cartier. Congratulations. I like that. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Mr. Lott says, I was just over there buying art a couple weeks ago. It's not the area, it's the people. That's a fact. Because I live down here and it's great. And it's unfortunate. Mr. Lott said, kids. And went back and got the pistol and then shot the people. Mr. Nick says, I was in Aurora last month. Think Cleveland, Ohio. I actually really like Cleveland. I think it's a play. I think it's a lot of money to be made in Cleveland. It's a lot of money to be made in Cleveland. I just so happen to know Metro Detroit way better than I know Cleveland. Anton makes the no bumper face for us again. Casual Germ says, that's not an 8-year-old, that's a grown half midget. Shout out to the small people out here in the streets. I need a small people. I need a mascot. I need a baddie, a small bat. If y'all know any small people, and I'm not talking about like just short, I want like a small person, like a legit midget or dwarf or something like that, but she got to be a baddie. Tell her to holler at me. Tell her to email me. If y'all know any super duper small people, but they a baddie, she a baddie, tell her to holler at me. I need a new mascot. All right, y'all ready? She got to be willing to travel. Got to be willing to travel, man. Anyways, y'all ready to get started with the show? All right, y'all. First thing that we want to transverse into is Diddy. Diddy was recently arrested at a Manhattan hotel. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your If y'all know any small people, honestly, I need a small person. I need a new mascot. So I'm looking for midgets, dwarfs, but she got to be bad. And when I say bad, I'm talking about, slim, thick in the thighs, her little mini calves. I don't want no stocky small person, that's for sure. I don't want the one that look like a little football. Don't send me any old smart person. Don't send me any old small person. I don't want them to just be small for the sake of small. I want to be able to like flip, play, like a real, one of my mascots, one of my people. The same way that they got. All right, let me stop. We'll talk about it. Email me. If y'all know a baddie dwarf or something like that, tell them to holler at me. We'll get into it. Let's go.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul.
Y'all some wild people in the chat. Shout out to the chat. Chat lives matters. If this is your first time over at the Millionaire Morning Show, understand we go off script. We say whatever the first thing that comes to our head, and then we apologize for it later. So shout out to all of my people. Let's No, seriously. Listen, before we get into this Diddy thing, let me rewind this because I need to get the whole story. Before we get into this Diddy thing, got to be willing to travel. Certainly be able to fit into it, maybe even fit into a little pouch. Because I got this thing, I want to get like an upsized pouch. You know that pouches? All right, let me tell you what my vision is. I got to tell you what my vision is. I want somebody that I could use, and you know how they carry them babies inside of them pouches? I want to be able to carry a little person inside of a pouch, but I need the pouch to be slightly bigger. You know, that'd be a thing like that. I'm telling you, bro, it's a great marketing campaign, but let's get into Diddy, y'all. Let's get into Diddy.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment. Joining us now is CNN's entertainment reporter Elizabeth Wagmeister, and also with us CNN chief legal correspondent Ellie Honig. Elizabeth, you were a big part of revealing some details about Diddy's conduct in private over the course of the last couple of months. That video led to a lot more scrutiny on what he has been accused of. What do we know at this point about what this case might ultimately be about?
Abby, at the moment, we don't know what the charges are. I have information that he was arrested tonight.
Yo, hold on. Let me just, before we get into the arrest and stuff and all of my conspiracy theories, running down a hallway full sprint in a towel is insane, bro. Let me just say that. I am trying to find everything in my being. Everything. And when I say everything in my being, I'm truly trying to figure out a way to support Diddy. I am. That all went out the window, and I tried yesterday because I didn't want to be in an echo chamber, so I had a conversation and you know what I'm saying, try to mix it up a little bit. Shout out to Molly. I seen her doing that also. I'm trying. Everything in my being, I'm trying to figure out a way. All right, so it's not really as bad as I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? A full sprint. Look at the full sprint, though.
What the charges are. I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel.
Dog came full sprint. He didn't know if anybody else was in the hotel. I got to skip past this part. I never want to show this part. I don't care if it's CNN footage. I just got to skip past that part.
Maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to New York last week. And here's a statement that I have from his attorney. He says, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." He goes on to say that he is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. Now, Abby, that video that you just spoke about was a few months ago when our team broke this disturbing video of Diddy violently.
All right, I can't show that part. I'm gonna skip past that part. Dude is in a full sprint. That's a wild boy. That's a wild boy.
Directly of sexually assault. Up until that video, he denied everything. After that video came out, he changed his tone. He apologized for his conduct in that video. But I have to tell you, Abby, just as of last week, a former member of Danity Kane, which was one of the bands from Making the Band, Diddy's show that was on MTV, she sued him for sexual assault and other.
She talking about she got groped. Now listen, I'll roll with the Cassie. All right, I'll roll with Cassie. Okay, listen, we got evidence. I am a huge proponent of innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, or unless you have some definitive evidence that shows, you know, that you are the real victim. Don't come out talk about 30 years later, 20 years later, he grabbed my, I don't want to hear none of that. All of these other people, I don't believe. I don't believe Dawn that she deserves anything other than whatever her making the band contract said. I don't believe none of these other people at all. Now, that's where I stop the line. Because, again, we can substantiate what happened to Cassie. But all of these other Me Too'ers, that's what I don't like. That's what I don't like. That's the thing that messed it up. Now, Diddy is not making it any better for any of us because, you know, as my man said, running down and sprinting down a hotel with socks on naked with socks on is diabolical. It is 100% diabolical. However, look, bruh, everybody don't deserve to get paid just because Cassie got paid. Everybody don't deserve to get a bag because these ain't even criminal charges, right? These is grown folks. He was in a whole relationship with Cassie. Y'all was just workers. Y'all was workers. And they all want a bag. They not even looking to get no kind of criminal suit or criminal charges. They see the ship going down and they say, let me get mine before everybody get theirs. And so everybody just trying to get a cash grab. And that's the thing that I do disagree with. I want people to catch the charges that they actually deserve, not you be able to get a cash grab just because you was associated with them. And I just don't agree with that.
Disturbing allegations, and he denied that. So he continues the denials and he still maintains his innocence, even though he has been arrested tonight.
And Ellie, not a huge amount of information available tonight, but Elizabeth brought up something that I want you to give us a little bit of insight into. Diddy is here in New York, in Manhattan. He apparently came here in anticipation that something like this might happen. What should we understand about what that might mean? It could very well be that this is a federal arrest being processed here in New York.
So, Abby, there are some important things we do not know, including the specific charges that have been lodged against Sean Combs. But there are some really important things we do know. First of all, based on the attorney's statement, based on our reporting, this is a federal prosecution. It's not a state prosecution.
Chandre, shut your nerdy self up inside of the chat. You know, and I'm cool with y'all saying it, but let me listen. Chandre, you one of them, you say every single time you type anything in the chat, it's the complete opposite. And I'm trying to understand, are you just like here to say the complete opposite or what? Somebody says stop, he says stop defending bad behavior. Who's defending bad behavior? I know you a cornball in real life. I could tell you a cornball in real life. Every single time he ever types in a chat, it's always the complete opposite of whatever the take is. Whether it's political, whether it's something social, if it's something related to a celebrity, the same dude every single day. He come in with his glasses and his David Goggins haircut, and he say some wild stuff in the chat he just a contrarian. He one of them type of dudes. He one of them type of dudes that you never invite to the party after you bring him the first time. Like, don't send him an invite. Don't send him the invite. Ain't got nothing ever to say except the fact that he loved getting pegged by his girlfriend. Oh, I love Kamala. No, not Cassie. No, don't say Eric's cousin because Eric is reasonable. Eric got a difference of opinion, but Eric, and never, don't censor him either. Eric is reasonable because Eric still is objective enough to actually be like, you know what? Yeah, that's a little crazy. We all agree on that one. Same guys every single time, dog. And they avatar always look like this. It's like, what are you know what I'm saying? What are you here for? You sassy little man inside of the chat. You so sassy. You talk like this. You talk with a lisp. All of your words got a TH at the end of it. Don't defend that behavior. Talking like Bugs Bunny. Daffy Duck. I bet you he talked just like Daffy Duck. Don't defend that behavior. succotash. I can't stand sassy men. There's nothing worse than a sassy, saucy Santana man inside of the chat, always talking like this. With a bunch of F's and F's and F's like this. I can't believe y'all not talking about Kamala Harris. Bet you was a choir director when you was growing up, wasn't you? Was you the choir director? Did your mama make you carry her purse up into the offering? Did the Catholic priest give you? Did the Catholic priest privately give you communion? I bet you the priest gave him communion. Sucker and succotash. Oh man, he always giving me wine. Praise the Lord. Sassy little man. Always whining. I don't defend it. Let's get back to this, bro.
The fact that he's being processed in Manhattan tells me that's the Southern District of New York. That's consistent with the reporting that the Southern District of New York had been handling this case. That's the office I used to work at. That's an office that sort of specializes in high-stakes cases. Just in the last year or so, Southern District of New York, just as an example, has successfully prosecuted Sam Bankman-Fried, Senator Robert Menendez. The other thing that we do know is a grand jury has...
Somebody said, I'm letting the... What do you mean? I'm letting the chat direct. Chat lives matters. I don't know if y'all understand this. Maybe y'all new here. Chat lives matters. We're not derailed. The whole show is a derailment. We derail ourselves with a beautiful woman. If it's a beautiful newscaster that comes up, we derailed. If we see somebody with a sad haircut, derailed. Somebody say something sassy in the chat, derailed. The whole show is a derailment. Aside from whatever it is that we're reviewing. So we get a little serious, but 90% of this show is 100% derailment. So if you're not looking to be entertained, then I'm sorry, buddy, you can go over there to MSNBC. The whole show is a derailment.
Indicted Sean Combs, meaning they found probable cause that he committed at least one federal crime. Now, as to what happens next, there will be, likely tomorrow or within the next couple days, but usually in the SDNY, you try to do it the next day, there will be an arraignment, meaning Sean Combs will appear in court with his lawyers. There are no cameras in federal court. He will be advised of the charges against him, and he will almost certainly enter a not guilty plea. But the key thing to watch for is then we'll have the question of bail. Will prosecutors agree to let him out on bail? Will prosecutors ask the judge to lock him up pending trial? That could end up in a contentious argument. So these are things that are going to play out over the next 24 or 48 hours. And finally, Abby, with respect to the charges themselves, it's important to note, we've all seen that video, but assault and sexual assault are not federal crimes. Those are prosecuted in state court. So what I expect to see when we see this indictment is some sort of crime with some element of organization to it, sex trafficking, something along those lines, if it's based.
Man, stop it. Listen, man, free the diddler, bro. Free the diddler. Free the diddler. Man, let that dude, man, everybody outside of Cassie got her money. Hers wasn't even criminal charges. Everybody outside of Cassie, y'all just want to see blood. Everybody outside of Cassie was there voluntarily. Men, women, whoever it was, and he was doing his freak offs with, that's where I stand. Until I see the indictment, until I'm able to read the documents, I heard that comes out later on today, so we're going to be dropping that and we're going to have that conversation probably during after hours. Chances are we're going to talk about it during after hours. Man, free the diddler. Just because he felt on a little booty, your booty, free the diddler, man. He ain't did nothing to y'all that y'all didn't sign up for. Y'all knew what y'all was going to when y'all went to that party. Who don't know when you go to a certain party that it may go left, but you still voluntarily go? Man, y'all was partying with them. Y'all got money with them. Y'all take that. Y'all signed contracts. Y'all signed the non-disclosure agreements, all of that. The consent agreements, all of that. You put yourself out there to get with it, even if you didn't know what was coming with it. You know what I'm saying? Free the diddler, bro. And I reserve the right to change my mind when I see the documents come out later on today. But as of right now, nah. All of y'all, listen. You're not going to sit here and tell me that a grown man went inside of a room with a grown man and then he came out as a grown woman, but he didn't know that he was going in there with a grown man, but then he voluntarily took his pants down. Stop it, bro. Stop it, man. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. So free the diddler. That's where I stand on it. I don't care what you say, and I don't care what you do. It's too many people that knew what was going on, but then all of a sudden they want to come to the front and go, oh man, me too. No, you was having a good time. You was partying. You was out there with Carisha, please. Y'all was all on the yacht. Yeah, you, Rick Ross, Carisha, you know what I'm saying? Quincy Jones and all of them. Y'all was having a good time. You went to the mansion party. You did some strange things for some change. Now you want to come back and have a conversation. Nah, man, free the diddler. Let the diddler go. You know what I'm saying? They was out there praying for him, laying hands on him. Get out of here. Shout out to TD Jakes. South 343 says, found your channel from Theo Coop Podcast. Shout out to Theo Coop. Shout out to Theo Coop. We rock with Theo. Craig's List. Shout out to my girl Tootie Bug. Tootie Bug, I want to see some pink toes at my next meetup. I'm expecting you there, Tootie. All right. Smaltima, Taltima, Ultima. Shout out to the new logo. Says, I heard y'all was looking for a no. Missed a lot of the building. Says, bro, if I pull up next to the meetup in the midget, how about it? All right. I'm looking for the smallest grown person that I can find personally. Jasmine4517 says, Anton, set up a debate with Joy Reid and have Dr. Phil as the mediator or any Democrat shill. Y'all keep sending me these different people to debate. I didn't see nobody call me out. Don't nobody want this smoke. Mara says they are trying to taint the public. We know why you arrest him. Normally in secret indictment, the arrest is kept a secret until they see a judge. Turtle in the building says, some way, somehow, I think some hidden Diddy footage finna leak. Ooh-wee. Stacy Galore is in the building. Shout out to Stacy. Says, Diddy's childhood sassy choir director just made a statement in the read, suffer and succotash. Chat Lives Matters. Edwin William in the building says, whoa. Shout out to my dog, Doctor. Let me put some respect on your name. Dr. Edwin Williams. Edward Williams. Shout out to my dog, Dr. Edward Williams. I appreciate y'all. Let's continue to rock out. All right, so Texas is declaring the Tren, what's the name of the gang? The Tren De Aragua, or whatever their name is, as a terrorist group officially. It takes a governor to actually stand up for the people. Shout out to Governor Wheelchair down there in Texas. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's spend a few minutes on this and let's man out what he said at his press conference.
Maybe even a deadly threat facing both our state as well as our country is the recent entry and expansion.
That's what the guy over on his left, my right, y'all right. He looked just like my security. He looked just like that, except he be having regular clothes on. And hold on, wait a minute. Why that security, why is that Texas Ranger and sheriff over all the way to the left? Why is he so much taller than the guy that's to his immediate left? Why is Texas County Ranger so tall that he ain't even in the scene no more? Be like, hey dog, move me over to the next to the guy that's all the way, put me all the way to the right. I'm not about to stand next to him on camera. Dude look like a giant. Oh, dog, not about to be standing next to me. Keep on flexing. Nope. I want to be all the way to the left. Y'all right on TV, my left. Put me all the way to the left. But yeah, my security looked just like that guy with the hat on. Yep.
Of the vicious Venezuelan gang known as Tren De Aragua, also known as TDA. Officials are concerned about what is going on with TDA. Its recent expansion and entry of this gang could destabilize public safety in the United States as well as in the state of Texas. For us, and law enforcement across the state, our top priority is the security and the safety.
Okay, who in the kitchen? Did y'all see somebody? Did y'all hear somebody in the kitchen still rumbling through stuff? Hey, put the coffee mug down. We're trying to have a press conference here.
Of our fellow Texans. This is a nonpartisan, bipartisan issue that everybody agrees upon, that we need to aggressively address.
Shout out to Juan Vargas.
This threatening challenge.
That's exactly how they were walking across the border. And anybody that's been rocking with me for an extended period of time, y'all know that we've been documenting this for well over 2 years. And as a result, they are now firmly entrenched in the American culture. What you got on? What you got on? Where you going? Huh? What's your Louis bag? What? Let me find out. Been making too many stops in the morning. Where to find my app at? Let me get back to the show. Let's get back to Governor Wheelchair. Thank you.
Maybe even a deadly threat facing both our state as well as our country.
Fast forward, get back to
in law enforcement South America to the U.S. That shows the current status of the flow and operation of TDA across South America, Central America, and now North America. TDA is notorious for their brutal violence and murder, and their kidnapping, extortion, bribery, and trafficking of drugs, weapons, and even humans. They've been linked to more than 100 law enforcement investigations across the country. They were involved in the brutal attack and assault upon New York Police Department law enforcement officers. Reports have also linked TDA to the murder of Lincoln Riley. Intelligence reports show TDA has been given the green light to shoot law enforcement officers in the United States.
TDA has been given the green light to shoot law enforcement officers inside of the United States of America. Isn't it funny that we've never heard Kamala Harris, or Biden for that matter, ever mention this gang? They never talk about illegal migrants entering into the country. They've never, not one time. Do you know that not one time have they ever mentioned Lincoln Riley's name? You know what it's going to take? I hate to say this. You know what it's going to take? Greg Abbott literally just said they've been given the green light to assault and fire off on police officers and people inside of the United States of America. See, nobody is tripping right now. You know how y'all don't care about the police? Nobody is tripping right now that it's happening to regular, everyday people. Y'all can assault the police officers. Y'all don't trip about it. When they do it, then y'all gonna get outraged at it. Watch. God bless my police officers. I don't want nothing to happen in any state trooper, sheriff, police officer, anybody. I don't want nobody to ever be assaulted or hurt at all. But I'm telling you, mark my words, September 17th, 2024, if one of these police officers get hurt as a result of a migrant gang, then y'all gonna be outraged, because it's similar to your family. You can talk stuff. You can get into a fight with your family. But if he get into a fight with your family, oh, it's war. It's all hell on earth. Hell on earth. I'm telling you. Watch. They already was beating up the police officers up there in New York. But if something tragic happens as a result of it, because they feel so empowered to do so, and they following behind y'all lead in order to continue to go off on these police officers, watch. The only person that's got real balls is Greg Abbott. Greg Abbott and obviously somebody that's not even in power right now, Donald Trump, are the only people that got the balls to call it for what it is and say, hey, listen, it's people that's dying, it's people that's hurting, people getting stabbed up in Indiana, and y'all just left the borders open and nobody's going to be accountable for it? Good job, Greg, for making sure that you declare this as a terrorist organization.
In other countries infiltrated by TDA, history has shown they first flood the countries with military-age Venezuelan men. Next, they begin to establish a base of operations. Finally, TDA begins a spree of violent and bloody criminal activity. We've now seen the beginnings of these operations in the state of Texas.
Shout out to Sub-Zero.
The second to last map that you see on your left-hand side are locations in the state of Texas where we have identified either known or suspected TDA activity in the state of Texas. Since 2021, more than 3,000 illegal immigrants from Venezuela have been arrested in Texas, and another more than 200 are wanted. There is currently no TDA database to be able to verify if these arrests are of TDA members or non-TDA members. So what the Texas Department of Public Safety is working on, as well as other law enforcement, they're working to create a database from scratch. They're doing that by watching for suspected TDA activity that matches the known methods of operation of confirmed TDA activity in other countries.
We can't even fix the gangs in our own country.
We will build that database by looking at common traits shared by TDA. You see on a chart right here some of those characteristics. They include tattoos, scars, marks, types of crime, methods of operation. Now, importantly, today, I'm announcing what Texas is doing to stop the spread of TDA in our state. I ordered the Texas Department of Public Safety to launch a statewide operation directly targeting TDA to deter and to disrupt their criminal operations in Texas.
Oh, no. Now, you know that these little soy boys and these little lefties, they're going to be upset at you. You know why? It's the same thing that I heard from last night. People are upset with the idea that you would hold anybody accountable for fear of offending people. People are more concerned with being offended than they are on actually protecting your own people. Your life means nothing as long as people are not offended by it. I've seen so many arguments last night where people was making an argument that they was more concerned about people getting offended at what they said than they was actually the crimes or anything like, oh, perfect. Come here for a second. Actually, you know what? Stay right there. Just stay right there. Perfect. I'm glad that you're here. Let me let this play.
DPS is collaborating with federal and local law enforcement through the Texas Anti-Gang Centers. When I became governor of Texas, there was one anti-gang center to crack down on gang activity in our state. Today, there are now 9 anti-gang centers across the state in Dallas-Fort Worth, El Paso, Houston, Laredo, Lubbock, McAllen, San Antonio, Tyler, and Waco. You will see those locations on this map over here. Also, I signed laws that provide more than $100 million to support these anti-gang centers over just the next 2 years. But to more directly target TDA, I directed DPS to elevate TDA to a Tier 1 gang, the worst of the worst, ensuring that DPS deploys the resources that are needed to corral this growing menace. Already, we're making arrests of suspected TDA members. For example, recently El Paso residents were concerned about criminal activity at the Gateway Hotel in El Paso. In the last few months, DPS special agents worked with the El Paso Police Department gang units to arrest criminal activity at and around El Paso's Gateway Hotel. More than 20 arrests were made, many of whom were suspected TDA members for charges that include human smuggling, prostitution.
People don't care until it's at their doorstep. And now, the only reason that it's starting to become an issue, and thank God for Governor Greg Abbott, is because it's starting to appear at their doorstep. When you see these small communities, it's much harder, it's much easier to hide them in a larger communities that's not being highlighted. So because Chicago, New York, Houston, Los Angeles, and Denver had basically declared themselves as sanctuary cities, that's where all of the news cameras were, right? But what we don't know, and what we really not taking into consideration, is that Texas has been at the forefront for this for a long time, but they've been able to manage it a little bit more effectively because they had support from the Trump organization. They had support from the Obama organization. They largely, Trump modeled his deportation skills, even though he had so much pushback on continuing to support the border. Now remember, these same people, when Kamala Harris was senator, they were denying him resources. Let's have that conversation. When Kamala Harris was a senator, she was amongst the people that were denying Trump resources to secure the border. I don't know why they don't bring that up inside of the debates. I don't know why they don't bring that up and people don't ask her that when they get her on their platforms. When she was a senator, she was amongst the people that was denying him resources from being able to secure the border. Then they want to talk about 2023. Oh my God, it's tied to this Homeland Security bill that also funds Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. Why can't we have more resources in order to secure the border? But they starting to secure the border now, right? But they've already let over 10 million. More than any other time in my lifetime, they've let more people inside of this country over the last 3.5 years than any other time inside of my lifetime. So Trump was calling for it way in 2016, 17, 18, and 19 and saying, listen, we need to build a bigger wall. We need to have more resources at the border. This is coming. This wave is coming. Trump is almost looking like a prophet at this point because he's been warning people that this was going to happen. Y'all let it happen all of this time over the last 3.5 years at an exponentially higher level. Remember, Trump's deportation strategy was largely modeled after Obama, who they was calling him the deporter-in-chief, and he was the one that was being accused of having kids in cages. And so the same thing that they was trying to hold Trump accountable for or trying to blame him for is the thing that they then went away from, which was what Obama was doing and Biden was his vice president at the time, right? But again, people are not going to get it until you see it on your doorstep, and people don't even care about your freedom as long as they're not offended by it. I was, let me get off of this. Shout out to Greg Abbott. I'm going to read the super chat shortly. Let me ask you a question, Rita. I'm about to turn your mic on. Mm-hmm. Talk to me real quick.
Hello.
Okay. I think they can hear you well. I was telling them a story about Little Caesars Arena last night on the show.
Okay.
When you went to the Usher concert with my brother's wives, what did you experience? Tell them what you experienced. I set this mic up just so you can tell them what you experienced.
Okay, so I went to the restroom. It's always a line outside of the women's bathroom. So, I saw the sign that said women's. I saw women standing out there lined up, so I got in line. So as I got closer to the inside of the bathroom, on the right side of the wall, it was lined in urinals. So I'm like, wait a second. I mean, I see other women in the bathroom, but when I saw the urinals, I like kind of panicked a little bit because I'm like, wait, am I in the right space? So I stepped back. I looked at the sign, like, okay, this is the women. So I tapped the girl in front of me. I'm like, hey, are we in the right bathroom? And she was like, right. I was thinking the same thing. And the lady behind me, she was like, they getting out of control with this S. So, yeah. So the women's bathroom, one side of so when you walk in, it's open. And then one side is, the stalls with the toilets and the doors. And then the other side is urinals. And if I had to count, I would say it probably was about maybe 10 or 12 urinals in there.
So they put 10 or 12 urinals. 10 or 12 urinals inside of the women's bathroom.
Yes. And I don't know if it's in all of them because I only went to the bathroom that one time. So I only saw that one specific bathroom.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Go ahead and cut that mic off real quick so you can get back to focusing on what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Let me read. You got to say what? No, I'm going to cut that mic off. Don't worry about it. Let me go ahead and read some of the super chats, and then we're going to move over into the next part of the show. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Did they have more urinals? Somebody asked in the chat. Did they have more urinals than stalls? Okay. Shout out to Juan Vargas, says this is the best show on YouTube. I agree. This is the best show, period. Wheelchair for president in 2028. Man, the people in Texas, they're going to feel some type of way about that, though. Sub-Zero says, finally able to catch a live while traveling here in Spain and the rest of Europe. I see it's been crazy still in the United States, and I have to return Friday. Thinking about staying over here, hashtag making money worldwide, hashtag Trump 2024. Just make sure you vote when you get over here, big dog. My gestures are strong, says, your wife is beautiful while you're truly blessed. Y'all act like this your first time ever seeing Rita. Is this your first time ever seeing her? Jamal Park says, shout out to Mrs. Daniels. No, don't start saying y'all appreciate her and all of that stuff. We don't want to hear nothing from her. Jack Sterling, shout out to my rich friends. For context, I want to be able to take care of my parents as they age and continue to struggle. Also going through my own financial struggles due to my inability to work full-time due to the time the science class is required. Try emailing twice for a coaching call. Listen, Jackie, I often say this. You have to be selfish before you can be selfless. I know it sounds mean. I know it sounds crazy. I know y'all might feel some type of way about it, but you have to be selfish before you can be selfless. You just said you're going through your own financial struggles. That's cool. Financial struggle is not going to last forever. You're going to come up out of it. So don't make the sacrifice for no reason. Struggle to get somewhere instead of struggling to just be struggling for the rest of your life so that you can be mediocre. Finish your science classes. You're supposed to be poor when you're going through it. Go and do what you're supposed to do and take care of business. Now, you got to get rich before you can start taking care of other people. You got to get rich in order for you to start taking care of other people. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds mean because usually I don't know what demographic you are or what race you would identify as, but over in my community, we call it the black tax. The black tax is when you make it, you're now obligated to continue to be taxed by the people that came before you in order to take care of them. I'm raising my daughter differently. I'm raising my daughter to be able to pass something onto her instead of her having to be able to take care of me. Take that for what you will. Shout out to you, Jackie. I appreciate you. All right. Let me see what else we got. Stephen Butler. Shout out to Stephen Butler says, it will be a war trying to remove these gangs and American lives will be lost. Kamala needs to be held accountable. For what? Y'all gonna vote for her. Why y'all gonna hold her accountable when y'all voting for her? Let me get into the next part of the show. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Right after Trump had an assassination attempt for the second time on his life, Hillary Clinton decided to go on MSNBC and start hating. Think about this for a minute. Before we view this, this is in real time. Hillary Clinton, right after she was hating yesterday in a pre-recorded conversation, she goes live on MSNBC in order to hate on Trump, not to offer any kind of consolement, not to have any kind of compassion, but to basically hate on him even more and talk about how mean and spiteful he is. Check it out.
Joining us now is Secretary Clinton, former Democratic presidential nominee, Secretary of State, U.S. Senator, First Lady. Her new book is called Something Lost, Something Gained, Reflections on Life, Love, and Liberty. It comes out tomorrow. I got halfway.
Is anybody buying this photoshopped book? Are you going to go? Are you getting a Hillary Rodham Clinton book? Rita? Interesting.
Through my preview copy of the book and immediately ordered it for my mom and dad. Secretary Clinton, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's a real pleasure.
Rachel, it is always good to be with you. Thank you.
I am struck by the fact that as his campaign careens into very, very offensive territory, the association with Holocaust deniers and the outrages at Arlington National Cemetery, of all places, the insults to recipients of the Medal of Honor, the recent incredibly racist and dangerous lies about specific groups of immigrants, Haitian.
Before we get into this, because I always like to take sources or use sources from different people outside of Fox or anybody that's not just 100% conservative or Republican or whatever. Why do we always label something as racist just because we don't agree with it? If somebody says, oh man, it's a bunch of Hagrant, my mom sounds like his mom. Shout out to my dog Lance Swain. It's a bunch of Haitian migrants. They are now 1/3 of the population in Springfield, Ohio, and we don't know how they got here. And they're over there. There have been reports of them taking geese and eating pets because their culture is completely different from our culture. Why do we then label that as racist? Everything that you don't agree with from a different demographic from you is automatically racist. I don't understand that. How do we get to the point to where everything is you hate another race because you call it for what it is?
In this case, and Venezuelans in the case of Colorado. I am struck by the fact that as much as we thought we might have been inoculated against sort of outrage tactics like that, where everything else gets thrown by the wayside and everybody starts responding to his outrage du jour, it's a way of sort of yanking everybody's chain. I sort of feel like we haven't learned. And
is this an interview or is this a monologue?
He's still being taught, especially by the media, that the more offensive he is, the more he can dominate the media space entirely. And I feel like you've been a good diagnoser of that, not only from when you were up against him, but from when others have done so. Do you have an antidote for that or a way that people can talk themselves out of taking that bait?
I'm not going to take advice from a loser. Don't y'all know that Hillary Clinton is a loser? Don't y'all know that Hillary Clinton is a loser? Hillary Clinton unsuccessfully, according to Wikipedia, unsuccessfully ran for president twice. In 2008, this is just for the people that's a little bit younger than me, and in 2016. Hillary Clinton is a career loser. Loser. Hillary Clinton lost in every part of life. The only thing that she won was a diversity, equity, and inclusion position as a result of taking that L from Obama. Obama and them felt so bad for her. They said, Michelle, we got to get Hillary a position and the administration and something significant. Even though we know that she probably won't win in 2016, I will endorse her. And we have to give her a position. Now, I don't know what she's going to do with her laptop, and I don't know what she's going to do in her campaign. However, we have to get her a position inside of the administration because she did take a pretty savage beating in 2008. She took a pretty savage beating in 2008, Michelle. Hillary Clinton is a career loser, and she got her position as a result of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they tried to do with her what they did with Kamala Harris, and it didn't work. It did not work. She even lost to Monica Lewinsky. All right, let's hear from the career loser.
I think that's really a critical question, and I think there's a couple of things going on here. You mentioned the press, and sadly, the press is still not able to cover Trump the way that they should. They careen from one outrage to the next. What was outrageous 3 days ago is no longer on the front pages, even though it threatens the physical safety of so many people, particularly, as you point out, immigrants that he and Vance have decided to demonize. And I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is. The late, great journalist Harry Evans, one time said that, journalists should, really try to achieve objectivity. And by that, he said, I mean, they should cover the object. Well, the object in this case is Donald Trump. His demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it. They were merciless about what they saw as President Biden's, problem.
What is she saying? Does she have on a pantsuit? And why is her collars drunk? One of her collars is drunker than the other. Is that a silk pantsuit?
In the debate and calling for him to withdraw. I believe Donald Trump has disqualified himself over and over and over again to be a presidential candidate, let alone a president. The second thing, though, is that part of what Trump is counting on is for people to get desensitized. I mean, oh, my gosh, did you hear what he said yesterday? Did you hear who he attacked? Did you hear the viciousness? And it just like with a shrug, OK, fine, we're moving on. Well, Americans need to understand that they have to take Trump both seriously and literally. He has said what he wants to do. He and his allies with Project 2025.
Already discredited. We ain't even taking nothing that she's saying seriously. I'm taking zero of anything that Hillary Clinton is saying seriously. She got the same playbook and the same talking points as Tim Walz, as Kamala Harris. I don't even think Biden has even said anything about Project 2025. Shout out to Biden for wearing a Trump hat. We got to completely discount what this hag is saying altogether. She's a hack. A complete hack, 100%. And so as soon as they say something like that, we know that they disingenuous. We know that they lying. We know that they trying to play on people's emotions. And so everything that they say just goes out the window.
His desire to be a dictator, at least on day one, all of that is in the public record. And I believe that more Americans have to be, willing to endure what, frankly, is discomforting and to some extent kind of painful.
I wish some of these interviewers would actually just call him out on their BS, too.
To take him at his word and to be outraged by what he represents. And then finally, the hopeful side of this is that I do think more and more Americans are, rejecting the kind of chaos that he represents. We can't go back. That's what the Harris campaign says all the time. We're not going back. We're not going back to, what he failed to do to protect American lives during COVID. We're not going back to the, romance with dictators that puts, innocent lives at risk and America's security in danger. We can't go back and give this very dangerous man another chance to do harm to our country and the world.
Maybe we should go back to more migrants crossing over into the border. Maybe we should continue to go forward with more wars. When did we become the world police? When did we become the world police? I'm going to be honest with you. Those people need to be able to manage their own countries. Those people need to be able to manage their own countries, their own people. When did we become the world police? It makes no sense to me. Maybe we should continue to go forward with horrible, and when I say horrible, I mean 100% horrible, horrible economic policy that continues to plunge us in inflationary and recessionary territory. Let me hear the rest of what this lady got to say, and then we're going to move over to the next thing.
Speaking of dictators, the Justice Department and the State Department have taken a number of actions in the past several weeks, striking actions to both call out and indict and take action against the Kremlin for their attempts at interfering in this,
dangerous right after he got
yet another presidential election cycle on Trump's behalf. The State Department has put out a $10 million reward for information leading to for information about people who are about entities that are trying to illegally interfere in our election. We've seen these dramatic indictments from the Justice Department, including for paying millions of dollars, the Kremlin paying millions of dollars to pro-Trump influencers. We've seen the Justice Department seize web domains where the Kremlin had set up news sites, what looked like news sites, looked like versions of American news sites, but were secretly operated by the Russian intelligence services or by the Russian government. Do you feel like the U.S. government is sort of starting to figure out how to do this and taking this seriously enough, or do you still think there's a far distance to go?
I think there's a far distance to go. I applaud the actions taken by the Justice Department and the State Department. I think that they're very important. But truly, we are just at the beginning of uncovering everything that Russia, but not just Russia, other countries have done and are doing to influence our election. If you focus on Russia,
the biggest election interference, get this lady off my screen. The biggest form of election interference is them trying to prosecute Donald Trump in order to prevent him from being able to run, so we couldn't choose him as our Republican candidate, and for them to trump up all of these charges in New York and Fulton County, and then they tried to do it in Florida, but they threw them out in Florida, and they threw them out in Fulton County. That's the biggest form of election interference. The fact that all of these migrants could continue to come over here, and they're getting driver's licenses and stuff now, endearing them now to the Democratic Party, which I believe is one of the reasons why they're being led over here in the first place. The biggest form of election interference is what we've been seeing over the last 3.5 years. That's just my opinion, though. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I'm going to read a few of these super chats. Oh, shit. What is going on in the chat? Chat Lives Matters. Sean Dixon in the building says you successfully predicted the last crash. Sister, I see you in there. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. How long do you think we have until the upcoming crash? It depends on the election. You can't really tell yet. I know that the Fed is going to continue to lower rates, so we're keeping an eye on that. Make sure y'all join into the Patreon, but it depends on what happens during the election. I'm predicting that Trump wins the election, and so we'll probably be able to avoid a crash. But again, we got to get closer to the election for us to be able to see that. Great question, Eshawn. Smooth Artist is in the building. Shout out to Smooth, says, Free Diddy 2024. Yes. Feet Funkerson in the building says, can we get an Anton's impersonations compilation? Peace and Pan-Africanism. Mass Man, shout out to the Mass Man, says, it's funny how they say Trump is dangerous for the world when we had world peace under his leadership. No new wars, man. Courtney Smith says, also Hillary openly called out for Barack's assassination when she ran against him in 2008. Turtle says, y'all sure about that? I don't think Jay Beezy at all. I don't like Jay Beezy at all, but I F with him For the Trump hat on, we all know it's cause he hate NDNs like Kamala. Y'all got me reading like I'm in the 3rd grade again. Mogul Minds Network says, can someone please acknowledge the absolute hypocrisy of Hillary to talk about this nonsense like they haven't been an absolute plague on an Haitian island? That's what y'all keep telling me. I'm going to save sisters for last. I like fried rice. G says, 80, you had me down yesterday with that look at these geese for dinner. Look at them geese for dinner segment yesterday. Those are facts, though. I appreciate your show a lot, fam. We just going to get right to it. Eric M. says, I thought most of these people were once friends or associates of Trump's. He literally gave them campaign donations. But how soon they turn on him. Latrell says, Trump's assassination reminds me of the movie Purge, election year. I never watched that movie. I watched the original Purge, though. Tim Duncan, shout out to Rev, says, we've been the world police since World War II. Brock says, pass a love offering. All I hear when Hillary talks is the adult voices from Charlie Brown. 3D Perspective. Shout out to 3D Perspective in the building. And then, oh my God. Sister with the $400 super chat. It's crazy. It's insane. It's insane the love that we get over here at the Millionaire Morning Show on the greatest show on earth. Says, good morning, Mr. AD and Mrs. Rita. I'm going to read your name this time because it's for 400. I think Trump has his pulse on Americans. He goes outside and talks to real Americans. He says what we Americans are thinking out loud. He is not politically correct because he is not a politician. The Americans are tired of the political word salads without substance plus Rita citing. Oh, no. No dancing. Yo, back out. Why is your back out? Huh? Come here. Let me see you for a minute. You gotta put on your sandals?
Yeah. Comfortable. I'm trying to work.
Nice and slim. Slim and trim. Ah, don't touch that.
Why?
Let me see. What's your back doing out? Go, sit down. Oh, sister. Shout out to sister. I appreciate you, love. Weaponizing the justice system just like family court. Talk about it. 3D Perspective says, I'm convinced that anyone votes for Kamala after seeing all this coverage is just a dusty. Turtle in the building says, Russian interference dossier linked to 2 Clintons. Do you think that they will come after conservative YouTubers if she elected? She already in office right now. Levi DePero says, Anton, Clinton's removed our president, putting a puppet, removed our soldiers, destroyed our farmers, started fracking, creating the mass earthquake and causes mass migration, and Clinton's destroyed Haiti. Shout out to you, my friend. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Yeah. What up to all of my friends? I see Slimmy in the building. Slimmy is in the... Oh, hold on. Let me say something about this. Do y'all not do a check on y'all chick? Do y'all not do a check on y'all chick? I do a check on my chick on a regular basis. 100%. 100%. Janice, let me tell you something. I'm going to read your super chat shortly. Let me read you. Rita, a baddie. They say Rita is a baddie. Do y'all know how often do I do a check on you? Don't worry, your mic is on. How often do I do a check on your, do a body search? A full body cavity. Stand her up, naked. Turn her around. Do an inspection on every aspect of her body. And the double. How often do you think I do a check? If you had to guess.
Seems like every day.
It's not every day.
I don't know.
It's not every day. Maybe twice a week or maybe once a week, depending on the week. I do a check. I do a full check. I go through, I inspect the thighs. I inspect like everything. I look at every single aspect of the body and I do a full check. Y'all don't do a check on your chick? I do a check. Real talk, I do a whole check all the time. I say, okay, all right, I like what you got going on over here. I like what's happening. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, that was just okay. I thought that was a little something. That's not nothing over there. All right. I do a chick check all the time. Y'all don't do a chick check? Ladies, have y'all man ever checked y'all? Like did a chick check?
Is my mic still on?
Yeah, your mic. You want me to turn your mic off?
No.
Huh?
No, I'm just glad I asked. Because I was about to
Why,
say
you was about to say something? Wow.
Yeah.
Let me turn your mic off. Anyways, yeah, I do a chick check. Jesus Christ. All the time. All the time. Shout out to my girl, Janice. I appreciate you, Janice. All right, y'all. More Knowledge says this administration brought back the 80s. My Mercedes. Shout out to the 80s and More Knowledge. I appreciate y'all. Y'all ready to get over to the next part of the show? All right, y'all. We gotta move forward. So let's talk about Trump. Trump and Biden has made a response to the assassination attempt. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
Former President Donald Trump speaking for the very first time after he was targeted in an apparent assassination plot, saying it's a miracle an agent spotted that rifle.
This comes as authorities release new information about how this all unfolded. Good Day's Teresa Priolo has more.
All of a sudden we heard shots being fired in the air, and I guess probably 4 or 5. And it sounded like bullets, but what do I know about that?
In a cryptocurrency virtual town hall session on X, former President Donald Trump describes the moments the gunfire began Sunday and the frantic effort to get him and his golf buddies off the Trump International Golf Course.
I would have loved to have sank that last putt, but we decided, well, let's get out of here. And what the gunfire was actually, interestingly, was a Secret Service agent had seen a barrel of a AK-47, which is a very powerful rifle, and he started shooting at the barrel.
Hiding in the bushes with a backpack full of snacks, we learned Monday 58-year-old.
Did he say a backpack full of snacks? He had some of the kids' fruit snacks? Let me back that up for a minute.
Shooting at the barrel.
Hiding in the bushes with a backpack full of snacks.
What kind of killer is this? And he got a Nautica shirt on. Oh, Jesus.
Learned Monday 58-year-old Ryan Ruth is believed to be the suspected assassin. He never discharged his weapon, and he told police he didn't really have a good view of the president, but that didn't matter.
Yesterday afternoon, Martin County Sheriff's Office took custody of Ryan Routh, and he was transported back to Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. Our FBI agents then attempted to interview him, and he invoked his right to an attorney.
Once cornered, the Hawaii resident was arrested on multiple charges, including possession of a firearm despite being a felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number.
Cellular data shows that the subject was in the vicinity of the golf course roughly 12 hours before the engagement with the United States Secret Service.
So that means that he already knew where Trump was going to be before Trump was there. That's why he had all of those fruit snacks. He was fasting prior to so that he wouldn't have to use the bathroom inside of the bushes. And he was sitting up there with all of the kids' fruit snacks, eating them, waiting for Trump to come by. He truly had an intention to take this guy out. It wasn't like the other guy that climbed on the roof. This was him waiting in the bushes for over 12 hours. I'm always wondering, how did he know that he was going to be on the golf course? And how did he know that he was going? You got to do what? And how did he know? Such a distraction. And how did he know that he was going to be coming down that hole? How did he know? How did he know? That's the number one question that I have is how did he know that this was going to happen in the first place?
Secret Service Acting Director Ronald Rao briefed Trump and federal and local law enforcement officials on the investigation this morning. President Joe Biden weighing in at a conference in Philadelphia.
America suffered too many times the tragedy of an assassin's bullet. It solves nothing and just tears the country apart. We must do everything we can to prevent it and never give it any oxygen.
As for the
Why doesn't Kamala Harris say anything about this? Even when Biden was running for president of the United States of America, he had, at the very least, acknowledged it. You don't hear anything for Kamala Harris at all about this whole situation. This is some of the accounts of what his first court appearance was like.
Now, Dana Marie McNichol in West Palm Beach, Florida, with more on yesterday's assassination attempt.
Kaylee, Ryan Ruth walked into that federal courtroom this morning smiling, shackled by his hands and feet. He was even seen laughing while speaking to his court-appointed attorney. Now, the judge presented two different charges: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and a possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number.
So wait, his only charges was possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number? Are these the only charges that he got?
Now, the judge presented two different charges: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and a possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Combined, the judge says he could face 20 years in prison and $500,000 in fines. Fox is told additional federal charges are possible, but we understand that these charges presented today will keep him in jail. Now, Ruth told the judge that he only makes about $3,000 a month with no assets other than two trucks in Hawaii. The sheriff said yesterday when Ruth was arrested, his demeanor was perplexing. And that continued today in the courtroom when he was smiling and laughing.
Made the stop and then at gunpoint ordered him out of the vehicle. He complied. His demeanor was perplexing in some way, despite the fact that we had numerous people out with rifles, uniformed personnel, a helicopter.
And we are just getting our hands on the affidavit, and a couple of things stood out to me. It said he was driving a car with stolen plates. Of course, he fled the scene, and officers were able to pull him over and arrest him on I-95. And then also, Ruth's mobile phone was detected in the area at 2 a.m., so the night before this happened, until 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. Now, Ruth is being held in the Palm Beach County Jail, and he is expected in court for his next appearance on Monday, September 23rd.
Annie, you just walked out. What happened?
Well, we learned inside that courtroom the two charges that Ruth is facing in relation to what the FBI has called an apparent assassination attempt of former President Trump. Those charges are possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. The maximum sentence for those two charges combined would be 20 years. This was just an initial appearance. He was sworn in, was told that he would have to be honest with the court. He said, yes, I will do that. He was asked a series of questions to determine whether he qualifies to have a public defender appointed. In those questions, we learned that he said that he does have a job, did not specify what it is, makes about $3,000 a month. He was asked if he has any other assets, real estate. He said no, zero. We also learned that he has a son, a 25-year-old son.
The plot thickens.
But that's as much information as was revealed about that. So he did qualify for a public defender, and the next steps in the case were set, which would be a hearing to determine whether he should be held without bond. The government here is saying that they consider him a flight risk and that he would be a danger to the community should he be released. A very interesting point about his demeanor in there, and it matches somewhat what authorities have been saying about when he was taken into custody yesterday, that he was calm and did not resist arrest. He seemed very relaxed in the courtroom. He was wearing a blue jumpsuit that the inmates wear. He was shackled and handcuffed. But when he was speaking with his public defender, he was smiling at times, even laughing during some of that conversation, which we could not hear. But you could see his demeanor. He seems very relaxed, despite the gravity of the charges against him and what the government says he is that he attempted to do yesterday at the Trump International Golf Club. Lindsay?
You know why they have such cool demeanors? And let's hope that he can actually survive through prison so we can actually get some insight. But you know why they got such cool demeanors while everybody is just so relaxed when they get arrested and they don't have no big deal about it? Because we soft. We're soft here in the United States of America. So he gets to go, get all of his letters, possible visitation, go and get, based off of the taxpayer's dime, 3 hots and a cot. He's technically famous now, so he'll probably write a book at some point in his life. And we soft. We have become so soft. Now, had this been over there in Saudi Arabia or one of these other places, punishment immediately. Listen, you go over to Russia, you go over to China, they'll arrest you for just propaganda, for just thinking the wrong way. Over here, you can steal, kill, destroy, possibly almost shoot a president, and you could just go into court and just smile and not even a big deal and get famous as a result of it. Go viral on TikTok. Y'all better keep praying for Trump. Y'all better keep praying for Trump.
Manny, I may have misheard you, but did you say that right now the only 2 charges that have been filed are weapons possession charges?
That's correct. The only 2 charges that were brought up in court are related to the possession of the firearm. One for being in possession of a firearm as a convicted felon, and the other for obliterating the serial number on that firearm. It was interesting to not hear more about potential charges related to what the FBI had called the apparent assassination attempt, another one on former President Trump. But you have to remember that it's very early on in this case right now. We're assuming that additional charges could be forthcoming. They still have to hand down an indictment of this. So this is all we heard so far in the courtroom. Just those 2 charges related only to the possession of a firearm.
Manny, did the judge say at all when that hearing on whether or not Ruth will be held on bail will be?
Yes, let me look at my notes here. They have 5 days, he said, to get that hearing done. It was set for Monday, September the 23rd. There's also what they call a probable cause hearing. That was set for Monday, September 30th. This hearing in there lasted just under 10 minutes. So not a lot was revealed about potentially, again, what possible other charges he may face. Just really setting into motion the beginning of what could eventually be a trial against him. This was an initial appearance, then you have the bond hearing, then you have the probable cause hearing. So the dates were laid out, and then he was walked right back out of the courtroom to where he is being held.
Again, y'all need to keep y'all prayers up because it's getting bad out here, and it's horrible. It's 100% horrible. Let me read some of the super chats, and then let's get into something a little bit more fun. We'll get into Chad, Ocho Cinco's, and Shannon Sharpe's reaction to Adrian Peterson's $100 million plus fumbling of the bag. We're going to get into that. Eric M. says, the news anchors be validating he had a backpack full of... He was definitely fasting. Let me give another round of applause for Sister again. He was definitely fasting on that drill. He knew Trump was going to be there. I mean, he was there for 12 hours and nobody spotted him. That's crazy. Chad from Moore says, good morning, AD. I want to say thank you for the additional insights you've given in the mastermind session for leveling up in corporate America. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Levi DePerro says, Anton, Clinton supporting her. I'll vote for Trump. Purple Heart Mark says, Anton's Obama impersonation is flawless. I do all right. Blockchain Brown is in the building. Shout out to Blockchain Brown. Says, good morning. He is from Greensboro, North Carolina. Funny, I plan on highlighting North Carolina at the end of this show, which is about 30 minutes from me. He went to NCAT University, HBCU as well in 1995, but did not finish. Shout out to Blockchain Brown. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. One of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this next thing is because I've been getting a lot On my Instagram feed and stuff like that, I've been getting a lot of women has been breaking down their husband's paychecks. I've been getting a lot of like people saying, this is how much I make as an athlete or NFL player or whatever. But more, I'm getting a lot of women that's saying, man, I am going to budget my husband's paychecks. Come and budget that with me. Maybe I'll do a whole series of that, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after or something like that, of women that are budgeting their husband's paychecks or women that are budgeting their paychecks. Anyways, I want to deep dive into this because Chad, Ocho Cinco, and Shannon was reacting to the fact that Adrian Peterson, which is a former NFL player for all of my ladies in here, completely fumbled the bag.
His assets to pay for it. According to the USA Today, a Houston judge has ordered AP to surrender property to satisfy the debt. Constables have been ordered to seize assets from his home. A court-appointed receiver has accused Peterson of playing a shell game in order to avoid payment.
I'm reading this article right now just to give y'all some more context before they react to it. Peterson made 7 Pro Bowls in 10 years, during 10 years with the Minnesota Vikings. Set numerous NFL records during his Hall of Fame-worthy career. After leaving Minnesota, played for 6 other teams, including Arizona, New Orleans, Washington, Detroit, Tennessee, and Seattle. He was recognized as one of the best in league history and earned more than $100 million during his 15-year NFL career from 2007 to 2021. However, according to reports, Peterson now finds himself in debt estimated at more than $12 million, with the Houston judge recently issuing an order for him to turn over numerous assets in order to pay it back. And it is the latest in a long legal battle to get Peterson to pay back $5.2 million loan he took out from a Pennsylvania lending company in 2016 that was supposed to pay back other lenders. So he took out a loan in order to pay back a loan. Now imagine this, y'all. And this is why financial literacy is so interesting. Imagine this. You make $100 million. You should be 100% self-funded. People think I'm crazy because I don't deal with banks. The only banks that I deal with is to be able to open up brokerage accounts, as I tell my bag chasers, to continue to invest or have a vehicle to invest in stocks and then be able to get whatever your direct deposits are from your job. That's the only banks that I deal with. But I never take out a loan for anything whatsoever. I am 100% self-sufficient and financed. One of the reasons that I do this, and people get mad at Dave Ramsey for saying this all the time, one of the reasons that I do this is because no matter what, I'm good. Nobody can ever come for me and say, hey man, you owe me some money, or oh man, your business dealing went wrong. If I go and I fund a business venture, right? Or I open up a restaurant. If the restaurant fails, it just fails. I don't owe nobody nothing. I ain't got to pay nobody back or anything like that. If I go and build this property, I own that property for life. I don't have no mortgage on it. They just pay me for the rest of their life. The only thing I got to pay for is insurance, property taxes, and whatever maintenance got to go along with it. However, I have zero maintenance because I built the house brand new. So for the next 20 years, outside of maybe like a water heater or something like that, we should be good. One of the benefits of not having any loans, I know y'all, oh man, we can use other people's money to make money. Listen, say that to everybody broke right now, except for the people that was self-financed. Everybody is broke right now. You don't see nobody talk about getting in a truck and buy a big box truck. You don't see nobody talking about how many doors they got and go ahead and take a HELOC in order to pull money out. And I'm going to talk about that in the next real estate club that we got on Patreon. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. You don't see nobody talking about, hey man, refinance your home or pull money out in order to be able to go and purchase more homes and then just continue to leverage it. It's all BS. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the minute that you have a vacancy, you can't sustain that. And the banks still want their money. The minute that you have a pandemic where people get the rent moratorium, the banks still want their money. The minute that you have a little bit of problem and you got to replace a roof or you got some maintenance issue or a foundation problem, guess what? The bank want their money at the end of the day. To think that these people were still borrowing money in order to sustain a lifestyle making over $100 million a year is crazy. And you'll be surprised how many people actually do it. You'll be surprised to know that the statistics still ring true, that most NFL players, most athletes, not just NFL players, grow broke within 5 years of leaving the league. And this dude had a long career. He had a 15-year career, made $100 million, and went broke and was borrowing from somebody in order to pay somebody else and was still paying interest on the money. Crazy.
Ocho, man, AP, bro, you made $100 million, and then I think he borrowed like $5 million in like 2 years, the interest. So when you borrow money like that, you got to pay like 20-25% interest, Ocho. So it went from $5 million to like $8 million in 3 years.
That's insane. That's insane.
It might be 50% interest. Ocho, but then you throw a birthday party and you fly everybody. I wish I might have a birthday party. And I fly y'all in to come to my party? Where they do that at? He got camels. He got tigers. Dude thought he was Tarzan for real.
Man, you know how I am. The chat know, hell, the goddamn world know how I am when it comes to finances. And I don't play that. I don't play that. Listen, him being in this situation is very unfortunate. I wish him well and hoping everything turns out in his favor. I'm not sure how this works.
And nigga finna turn out in his favor. He owed $12 million.
I mean,
and for the looks of it, he ain't got it.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope he does. I hope he has something. I hope he has some.
How you take out a loan to throw yourself a birthday party? You better go down there and get
What up? What up? Chilling. What's the word? Oh, okay, yeah, we can kick it. Can I call you in literally like 30 minutes? All right, I'm gonna call you right back. Somebody else want me to be on the show. I'll tell you all about it later as soon as I secure it.
About 5 or 6 dozen crabs and some shrimp and say, here you go. Who takes out a loan to throw themselves a birthday party unless you're what? Trying to impress the party goers.
Well, it's two things from that, Shannon. The people that take out a loan that make that amount of money, that's trying to impress people, also don't got no money. Not only are you fiscally irresponsible, but you're also broke. Look. If you got to take out a loan to throw a party, all of y'all regular folk that got to use credit cards in order to throw a party and keep lying to me on your coaching call, because if you had it, then your credit card would have already been paid. If you got to use a loan or financing or creative financing in order to go and have fun, guess what? You broke. You broke. Whatever it is that you trying to do, you broke. If you don't have the money to be able to finance your trip, self-finance your trip, throw your birthday party, whatever you want to do, then you need to restructure your budget and get your priorities in order, because it ain't no parties. Ain't no parties. Ain't nobody fun when we broke. You telling me you got to take out a loan in order to throw a party? I don't even believe in throwing big weddings. You know why? Because that's all for everybody else. That ain't even for you. That mean that you paying for everybody else to have fun. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. That's crazy, man. 100? Damn, man.
Ocho, Ocho, you throw a birthday party and you bring in, what he fly in, 300 people, 300 guests? He flew in 300 guests. I don't know 300 people. If I'm 56, I don't know 300 people. And I damn sure don't know enough of people to.
Somebody said, where does the bank get the money for the loan? You don't know how banks work? I can break it down for y'all. Make sure you tap into the Patreon.
To fly their ass to my event?
Right.
Man, you think I know 300 buckets, 300 burns? Hell no.
That's messed up, man.
He flew in 320 people. Ocho, check this out, Ocho.
Yeah.
But guess how he flew him?
Not private.
First class.
Hell no. Nope. I ain't got it. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Anton from AntonDaniels.com, I go broke every single month. I want to get into this North Carolina conversation shortly. I go broke every month. I'm broke. I ain't got no money. Y'all want to see what's in my bank account? I'm broke. Time Dog is tapped. I'm tapped. I ain't got no money. When is payday? I got $360, y'all, and $2.03 in savings. I have $360.26 and $2.03 in savings. That's a fact. That's what I got. That's all I got. I ain't got it. Now, if you go into my spending summary, should be a little interesting. I ain't got it. Time Dog is broke. Don't ask me for nothing. My spending summary look a little crazy, but that's irrelevant. Neither here nor there. I ain't got it. I'm broke. Somebody asked me, "Hey, Tom, let me get a band, though. Let me get a band." I showed them that $360. Don't worry about my brokerage account. But brokerage account don't got nothing to do with that. That's different. My bank account says $360. I ain't got it. I'm broke. I'm tapped. I got $2 in savings. I got $2.06 in savings. Listen, you try to break into my account, you're going to be disappointed. Like, oh, man, I thought I could really get something from them. Go ahead and get it, boss. I got $360, and then I got $2.03 in savings. Go ahead and get it. I ain't got it. I'm broke. Now, I will show you this new driveway we just had put in for the new house that I just got, or for the house we finishing up. Hey, bag chasers, we almost finished. So I'm about to show y'all this house that I just finished building, my first house that I built, in addition to all of the other properties that we own. So I just put in a driveway. We just got the driveway put in. All right. Yeah. I just got the driveway put in. So shout out to all of the hard work that my contractors is doing. We should be done within the next 2 weeks. We are putting the finishing touches on everything. Everything is looking beautiful. We got the cabinets in. We got the granite countertops in. We got everything done. All right. But I only got $2 in my savings, so that's all I got for you. Don't ask me for nothing. Don't ask me for nothing. I ain't got nothing for you, big dog. All right, y'all. Y'all said when you put that in. No, I ain't put that in. I had to pay the contractors to do that. Anyways, so that's the account for gas and lunch. Anton ain't fooling me. I ain't got no money. I'm tapped. I'm tapped. It's tough out here. It's hard out here for a pimp. And I'm about to quit my job at the same time. So I'll keep y'all updated on that. Let me read a couple of super chats so I can get some more money in my bank account. Young Haiti in the building says, correction, AD, eating pets is not Haitian culture. It's just a fracture of drunk Haitian men's eat pets because we don't. Listen, I don't understand it. Even if I was drunk, I'm not eating no pet. Poogie's friend Ray Ray says he made over 100 M's in football money. That doesn't even count the endorsement deals he signed at the big contract in 2012 and was gone by 2015. He needed to tap Shaq for some advice. Bless says the rich rule over the poor and the borrower is a slave to the lender. Proverbs 22:7. Talk about it, baby. Talk about it. Anthony Reyes says, whose call was it to let Canada pay for the new Gordie Howe Bridge? We needed it over here in Michigan. We needed a second bridge, which allows Canada to take all the profits. Do we blame the local mayor or Big Gretch? I think that they wanted to kind of get back at the Maroons that own the Ambassador Bridge, so they'll have two bridges, but we'll go from there. Nightjade says, hey, let me hold a hundo of that 3. You only want me to have $260? $262 plus 3 cents with the savings. You know what I'm saying, Nightjade? I'm trying to figure it out, baby. We all just trying to make it work. The inflation got us crashing out in these streets. But I heard that everybody is flocking to North Carolina. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get to it.
North Carolina's Research Triangle, where some of the country's most prominent universities are located, is one of the fastest growing economies in the U.S., outpacing Seattle, Dallas, and Nashville in 2023.
60 years ago, we were the second poorest state in the country. We were dependent on tobacco. We manufactured billions of cigarettes a year. We manufactured furniture. Now look at what's going on here.
In the past decade, tech giants like IBM, Apple, and Google have invested billions in the region. A growing biotech scene is rivaling even that of Boston. And companies aren't the only ones taking notice.
New York's like zero-sum game, winners and losers. Chapel Hill, for me, was like completely the opposite. The fact that people genuinely wanted to see other people happy, like that was so cool. That was like, all right, that's a place I want to live.
We have considered at times, you know, should we pick up and move to this or that, closer to somebody in the family or whatever, and the answer has been usually a pretty quick no.
CNBC visited Chapel Hill, Raleigh, and Durham to find out why some Americans and companies are trading big cities like San Francisco, Boston, and New York for this North Carolina pocket.
Well, that's pretty obvious. Number one, San Francisco, well, I like Boston, but the cost of living in Boston is really high. But San Francisco, New York, and Boston, all of their cost of living is high. Over in San Francisco, obviously, they got a horrible governor. The cost of doing business is incredibly high. Taxes is high. And same thing in New York, except for it's colder out in New York, but then you got a migrant crisis on both coasts. Let me ask y'all a question. For anybody that's listening to this that's not in Carolina, and also the people that's in Carolina but maybe from North Carolina or grew up there, would y'all ever move to North Carolina? Let me ask a broader question. Would y'all all consider moving away from where you are if you had the right opportunity present itself to you? Or would you stay where you are just because you got family there, or you used to be in there, or you see yourself growing old there, or because you like the weather there? Are you guys open to moving to someplace else, even if it's less than ideal weather-wise or culturally or whatever that you're used to? Because I see a lot of people that also say, well, man, I don't want to go here because I don't know if there's anybody there that looks like me or anything like that. Would you guys up and leave and go somewhere else for a financial opportunity? Or are you too engulfed to where you live at in order to do so? Absolutely, for sure, yes. Gone, yes, 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 yes. NC is nice, yes, definitely yes. I see a lot of yeses. I don't know if I see any no's. I will move wherever, yes. I would move to North Carolina. Yes, I will move if the right opportunity came along. I'm leaving immediately. Everybody's saying that they will move. I don't know. Tony Golden said no. Tony Golden, why wouldn't you move? If y'all haven't realized this now, the chat is the co-host of this show. The chat is the co-host of this show. Tony Golden, why wouldn't you move? I don't think that I would move at this point in my life. Me personally, I wouldn't move. But let me see what else they're going to say. John Moore said no. LTG says no. Keisha says North Carolina can't afford me.
That looked like she was doing that on purpose. Is this the hot tub competition?
Now it's diving.
This is Randall Bohr and his wife, Starla, and 4 kids.
The harder we watch, the faster you go.
Does that how it works?
Still gotta sit at the table.
No, Ben doesn't want any.
Randall was lured to Durham in the 90s by family and a job at IBM. Today, he oversees hiring and finances at the UNC Chapel Hill Hospital's cardiology department.
UNC is growing, and we have multiple locations around the state. When I first started working here, we didn't have nearly that many.
Besides UNC Chapel Hill, Duke University and North Carolina State University also call the Triangle home. There's actually 8 colleges and universities there in total.
Yeah, and that's what make it a real hub, because they also they are educating people for the jobs that they're building in those communities, and that's what makes it attractive for a lot of these big companies also.
All surround Research Triangle Park, or RTP, the largest research park of its kind in North America. It was created in 1959 by a cooperative effort between governments, businesses, and universities as a way to lure companies to the talent pouring out from these schools. This helped diversify the state's
I knew that they was going to say that.
Economy, which ranked nearly last at the time. CNBC ranked the state 4th when considering economic and job growth in 2024.
I don't think it can be underestimated the influence Research Triangle Park had on the growth of this region. And we still have companies wanting to move in here into Research Triangle Park, or in this area at least. To me, that's a big part of the story.
15 years ago.
Somebody in here said they've lived in, Trini Life said you lived in 8 different cities. You don't want no stability, big dog? How can you do it? Unless it's your job that's moving you around, or you work for the military or something like that.
10 years ago, you go to the university here and you go to Boston, or you go to New York or San Francisco after college if you want to work in these high-tech fields. Now those jobs, those companies are coming here.
Because of RTP's tech hub status, the area has become the nation's 10th fastest growing region since 2020.
And that's a problem, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be some downsides, infrastructure. People are going to probably be complaining because tech workers is coming in and running up the prices, which then pushes out the locals, which is basically a form of gentrification. But it's a good gentrification, but it's not for everybody, because people want their town to stay the way it was. And they don't think that they're going to be able to afford it on a regular salary, because you got all of these tech workers coming in, and they don't want them to turn this city into Boston or New York or San Francisco. And so you're going to have some pushing and pulling, and it's going to be some people that's displaced. But that's just what comes with change. It's the same thing that's kind of happening here in Detroit.
So that I would have absolutely no problem staying in the Raleigh area. For
really? Jose, you live in 8 cities too?
Yeah. Wow.
The Bohrers' eldest son, Luke, attends NC State in Raleigh, about a 30-minute drive away from Durham.
The main reason I decided to go to NC State was the research opportunities on campus. I went to school.
I said it's more affordable there until it's not, right?
So, I saw all the biochemistry and chemistry-related areas around, and I didn't feel a need to leave the Raleigh-Durham area.
If Luke does stay after college, he'll likely benefit from a number of factors. For one, these STEM jobs pay well, and the Triangle's median household income is about $87,000, or around 20% higher than the national average. And the region boasts a lower unemployment rate than the rest of the country. In June 2024, Raleigh was named the most promising job market for recent graduates.
I've never been to Raleigh. Do I need to go to Raleigh? Do we need to make a stop over in Raleigh and see what's happening over there?
I've experienced it firsthand in this job. We're always hiring faculty. We've got job posts open, at least 1 or 2 or 3 consistently. Housing has really blown up everywhere lately, but compared to big cities and places like California, it's not bad at all.
You know, for most people, and you start to see these little stupid housing developments where all of the homes look the same, for most people, I'll say this, unless you're moving somewhere for work, when people don't organically move to a place, and I kind of have this as a rule of thumb, when people don't organically move to a place, they usually too late to the party. If you're not moving somewhere for a job, I considered moving to Boston. I also considered moving out west simply because I had, at the time, was being recruited by Google. And so I took a tour of the campus and stuff like that and took the test. interviewed up in Ann Arbor, and then I flew out there, and then I had a conversation, but I decided to stay in Michigan and wound up taking a job at the bank, which was probably the best decision that I've ever made in my entire life in order to stay at a traditional company. When you're not organically going, meaning that you're being recruited for a job, or you have some level of transitioning assistance, or they're not giving you a stipend or housing allowance or something like that. If it's not that, and people just move down there in order to try to capitalize off it, or this is where everybody going. Kind of like how everybody moved to Atlanta and then everybody moved over to Houston, and you get down there and be like, ain't no opportunity for me. If you're not in a specific industry, usually you're too late. You're too late. Investors, real investors, not big companies that are taking advantage of the talent pool. Real investors, they look for opportunity before it becomes an opportunity. They pay attention to the St. Louis when St. Louis is not where it is that it's need to be, but St. Louis is now an investment opportunity because it's a lower standard of living as far as how much it's going to cost you to live over in St. Louis before it then becomes a boom town. If I'm looking for an opportunity outside of where I live now, because I'm firmly entrenched in Metro Detroit, it's been a very profitable idea, and getting in before everything started booming and everybody started coming here and stuff like that. If I'm looking at an opportunity, I'm probably looking at a Cleveland. I'm looking at maybe a Milwaukee, St. Louis. Milwaukee probably is already over. Chicago is going to reset. So Chicago is they going to completely go bankrupt. Oakland going to go bankrupt. It's way too early for y'all to start paying attention to those places. I would be paying attention to like a St. Louis or something like that. I will be looking in there, and I will be looking at that type of stuff. I would not be looking over in these places that's already developed, that's already booming, that people is already going into, because that's when you're going to get your head cracked. When you get in, when everybody else is there, we buy low. When everybody runs, that's when we buy it up. When everybody comes, that's when we get rid of it, and then we go over to the next opportunity, similar to the way that we do stocks. That's the way you got to look at opportunities, okay?
This wasn't a sidewalk here. This was all a thin dirt path with the trees all grown out here. It's not been a boom or bust kind of a field. The exception.
Some of y'all ain't familiar with what's going on in Milwaukee. It's actually a pretty dope place. Y'all sleeping. You don't know.
Period where the builders basically stopped building for a few years, and now the building boom is back.
While the region is still small in comparison to some of the most urban in the country, accessibility has not been an issue. Its main airport was named the fastest growing top 50 airport in the country in 2023.
For families that have relocated here whose parents still may be in the Northeast or in the Midwest, they can get here. They can go and see their family on the weekend.
How's it going? Hey, Mike. Hi, Cece. We'll get in around like 5:45, 6 o'clock for the day. Ready to rock? Even though I'm getting in even earlier and staying sometimes even later than my investment banking life, the experience, the atmosphere, quite different.
Alex Brandwine owns a bagel shop in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, less than a mile from campus. He worked in finance in New York City for 7 years before moving to Chapel Hill to pursue his MBA in 2018.
The timing was a perfect storm. We signed the lease on February 14, 2020. I graduated. The world went upside down a few weeks later. I've never had an idea of opening a bagel shop. That was never even the end goal. Official taste test. I'm loving UNC. I'm loving Chapel Hill. And my one question is, where's the bagel shop?
Opening a business in the middle of the pandemic was risky, but the Triangle had a major advantage over bigger cities.
We've had delays with construction, we've had delays with permits, and this community goes above and beyond to actually support you. Even other competitors, they're giving you little tips and tricks about how things go here, and I'd never seen anything like that.
Chapel Hill is considered a suburb of Durham, which is ranked one of the top cities to start a business in. In July 2024, CNBC ranked North Carolina as the second best state for business based on its economy, diverse workforce, and pro-business environment. It was ranked first in 2023 and 2020.
No, I wouldn't invest in Memphis right now. I personally wouldn't. I don't think that y'all should not consider it. But until they get some better leadership and they start to fix that place, Memphis is not the space for me. I do want to visit one day, but y'all going to have to, it's got to be safe. Memphis is in shambles. I was just talking to a guy that flew up here to go to a football game from Memphis, and he was like, man, it's rough right now in Memphis. So it may be an opportunity zone. I don't know.
22. There is an opportunity to come here and set yourself up and find incredible success. There's businesses that have been here for 40 years and established themselves.
While at school, Alex joined UNC Chapel Hill's startup accelerator, Innovate Carolina, to help get his bagel shop off the ground.
Hey, Alex. How are you? They were a big part of it, like introduced me to mentors, introduced us to like how to like actually become an LLC and like how to create that. We bring bagels once a month.
You need help on creating an LLC? Well, we can help you with that. That ain't nothing.
Beyond a helpful community, North Carolina's corporate income tax at 2.5% is the lowest in the nation and is set to be reduced to 0 by 2030. The state also has a flat income tax. That means new businesses can reinvest more of their money. Brandwines has already expanded in size and is adding a catering component to the business.
Which is exactly what I keep telling y'all about. It's the same concept that Trump has. The less in taxes that you charge, the more that dollar moves around, and then the state is going to benefit from it anyway based off of other things that they then take in resources from that allows for them to thrive and compete better against other states. It's the same thing that Trump is introducing as a concept instead of Kamala Harris when she says, well, pay your fair share. It's the reason why Chicago is failing and you got North Carolina thriving.
As the science and tech scene develops, it creates opportunities for other businesses to thrive.
When the state goes out and recruit businesses, the
zero.
impact doesn't stop there.
Crazy.
You can see it when you drive through the streets, et cetera. There are all kinds of new businesses. The downtown's expanding. There are new residential developments, et cetera.
Tech's impact on the region can't be understated. Many companies are making big investments.
I can't believe that
like
it's going
Meta.
to zero. Is it going to zero? I got to do some research.
Novo Nordisk, Amazon, and Apple. Although the phone and computer giant, which committed $1 billion in 2021, has slowed its progress by at least 4 years. Unlike big cities like Boston and San Francisco, there's an expansive amount of land, which is key for large manufacturing. And overall, North Carolina's job market is forecast to grow faster than the majority of other states. Raleigh.
Here y'all go. Raleigh is a space for y'all. Go ahead and move to Raleigh and see if you can get your money up.
Saw some of the greatest increases in employment among metro areas between November 2022 through 2023.
Young professionals are moving here. They're moving here to raise families, but they're moving here because of the quality of jobs that are available. Companies are figuring out that they need to be here for the talent, and the talent is following.
But while there is a healthy amount of job growth, especially in the construction sector, employment has slowed since 2022, according to state economists. While companies are putting down roots and investing, VC funding is still far from that of California or New York. Interestingly, Raleigh had an explosive second quarter in 2023 as several major deals were closed. The full-year numbers, however, were much lower. And though an area like San Francisco is more expensive, the pay is also higher, sometimes 40 to 50% higher for comparable jobs.
Of course, we are going to be lower on our wages because of that cost of living advantage, 10% lower.
Still, some risks could hinder further growth. The car-dependent triangle is lacking in public transportation infrastructure. A commuter rail plan was shelved in 2023, though the U.S. Department of Transportation awarded the region a $25 million grant to fund a bus transit hub in 2024.
We're not like Manhattan, where everything's right there together. You've got downtown Raleigh and North Hills, and Durham is 30 minutes from Raleigh, and you have all these pockets of where people live.
The interstates and the major roads in the triangle can get very, very clogged. The region has tried to develop some mass transit. That has not happened. So I would say,
yeah, you gotta. That's the final straw. If they was able to ever get some real mass transit, then they would absolutely boom. That's one of my 3 pillars. What makes a city great: education, safety, and then mass transportation. All those things create an environment that allows for a city to thrive and for the residents to be able to make a whole lot of money. Anyways, thank y'all for continuing to rock with me. Let me read some of these super chats, and then I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. Let's see. We got Executive Suite MLE says, let me hold some till things get right. No, let me hold something. Let me borrow a little something. Let me sit on it. BizQ says DeSantis not letting the feds take the case solely. Says feds are prosecuting Donald J. Trump in 2 cases. So bias, and we still don't have answers from Butler. Shout out to you, BizQ. Lee Barton is in the building and says, I know some people don't believe it, but we in a spiritual war, and if you go to certain states or different states, you can feel and sense the thickness in the air. I agree. Go walk downtown California, Los Angeles and see how you feel. Blockchain Brown says after the tobacco industry fell apart in the early 2000s, land was wide open for other businesses. Tech and biotech is taking over. You don't have to move, but just invest down here. I don't know. I almost feel like you almost got to live somewhere where you're going to invest heavily. We don't want anyone in North Carolina. We full. Nope, they coming. Give Back says Charlotte, North Carolina is a great city to return to after vacation. Have anybody ever visited on a vacation? Just went and seen it? High Tolerance says 80, take a trip out there. AM is in Durham, and he can show you the lay of the land. Yeah, I holla at my dog, AM. High Tolerance says people ain't stepped foot in half of the places they talk down on. And the words are too short. Take it A there and F what you heard. All right? Robert Brown goes on to say, what up, Anton? I'm from North Carolina, and my grandmother was the first black woman to attend UNC Chapel Hill. Shout out to her. They even got a building named after her called the Gwendolyn. Also a scholarship, Gwendolyn H. Smith. Shout out to Robert Brown and your grandmother. Shout out to Grandma. Jamal Bradley says, I work in tech in Seattle and considered a company in North Carolina. Cary, North Carolina, but also looked at Chapel Hill. You would be paying close to $1 million for a nice home close to the tech hubs. A bit lower than where we are, but inching up. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. Think about y'all paying $1 million for a home. It's crazy. The Carolinas DJ K Smooth says Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill are popping. Been that way. Outsiders are just finding out, riding a wave. Milwaukee fell to 112 in the livability rank. Y'all got to go to these places. You got to visit it and see it for yourself. Forget the rankings. Forget USA Today. Forget all of these places. Go and see these places yourself so you can experience it and get a idea of the culture, because they use different categories and indexes and all of this stuff. If you want to get the pulse of a place, go and get you a Spirit flight or Frontier. Go and take a flight there. Stay a couple days. You can get you a hotel room for $120, $140 a night. You'll spend less than $700-800 to go and visit it over the weekend, see what is popping, and go and see it for yourself. Forget all these other indexes. I go by real life experiences, not by what they say. All right. So listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. We got after hours tonight, and we're gonna get it popping. I might even have a special guest on there. I love you. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Deuces.